Hi, I'm Tricia at Club Scrap and welcome to another Page Kit assembly workshop. This one is featuring the Roost Kit released to our members in September of 2022. This is going to be a fun collection to put together. Even though it has a pretty specific theme, I feel that the art itself and the quotes and everything make it extremely neutral and appropriate for just about anything. So I do have a printed copy of these instructions. They are included with your membership exclusive links as well as on the resources tab of our website. So just look up the name Roost and you'll find the current copy of the instructions. So you don't need to print them, or you can just follow along with me and use them from a screen or tablet or something like that. So what I usually do is set aside all of the ribbon and the rest of the embellishments that came in the collection. And let's go ahead and sort the photo mats that were included in your kit. These are trimmed to 4 1/4 by 6 1/4, so they're ready for your photos. Now, one of the things I am using to stay organized is my accordion pocket file. This little gadget is handmade. You can make one for yourself as well if you haven't already. It has this little lip on the front of it that allows me to slide it under my trimmer, and then the trimmer leverages this file so it stays vertical, and it's easy to file everything needed for all 4 double page spreads we're putting together. So everything from that we trim that goes onto layouts 1 and 2 will go into the first pocket, and so on. If you don't have this, don't let that stop you from doing the workshop with me today. Just create 4 piles, and hopefully you have plenty of space to work in. I did design it for people working in small spaces, and it works great to help us stay organized. All right, so let's file these photo mats. I usually look in the ingredient list here, and we start up, it says 3 blue photo mats go into pocket 1 and 2. So 1, 2, 3. These are that nice smoky blue, pocket 1 and 2. Next, we're going to find the taupe metallic. So 1, 2, 3. This is the only metallic in the collection. Those go into pocket 3 and 4. Next, we're going to go for the white. 1, 2, 3 on the white here, pocket 5 and 6. And last but not least, the 3 brown go into pocket 7 and 8. It doesn't always work out that way, but that was very easy. And next, what I'm going to do is have you put the papers that we've provided in the order that we'll trim or use them. So let's start out by grabbing just 1 sheet of that weather vane print. It's probably in the top of your stack. And so this one has the weather vane. So it's kind of a grayish tone. Put it face down on your paper trimmer base. And then just down the way, just a small amount, you're going to find one of these rooster prints. We're going to put him face down as well. Next, we're going to find 1 brown. You're given 2 of each. So let's just take 1 of the brown pieces. And then next, look for that smoky blue color. Blue. All right. Then the Cutaparts. The first Cutapart I want you to find is the one that has the gray dots, and they're likely on the bottom of your stack of paper. So this gray dot. And then the one that says, I wonder if chickens do the people dance at their weddings. So funny. Okay, now we're going to continue on by finding the 2 brick. So there are 2 of those. It's that rusty brick color. Love that for this collection. And then 1 blue. That's the last one of those. 1, the remaining weather vane print, face down. How about a rooster print? So this guy, 1 of those left, 1 brown. And incredibly, you have 2 taupe left, and that's what we need. So those are the last 2. This paper does have a texture on one side. So I'm going to put the texture side facing down. Then grab the entire stack, flip it back over. And the best part about a video is if you got lost, you can just, go back. Do they still call it rewind even on YouTube? I'm not sure, but either way, you can work at your own pace and thanks to that pause and rewind button. And you can also adjust your playback speed to something slower if you really want to slow me down. Okay, we have some trimming to do, and I am using my Fiskars guillotine trimmer. I do carry these at Club Scrap because it's just that one product that you have to have, in my opinion. It's the very best trimmer for this particular job. We're going to place 1 of the weather vane prints right side up into the trimmer, and we're going to cut it at 7 1/4. Now, if this is your first time using this trimmer, just be mindful that the paper must be resting along this top ridge here, and ignore the centimeters, look at the inches. And so what I typically do when I say 7 1/4 is I find 7 and I go 1 column to the left, because it has all these columns on there, super handy. That's 7 1/4. And then before you slice, push down on this clear bar. Again, make sure you're level at the top, and then that'll keep the paper from squirming around when we cut it. Next, I need 3 3/4. So again, 3, 3 1/4, 3 1/2, 3 3/4. That is our next cut, and we're going to place this weather vane into pocket 1 and 2. When you do so, place it at an angle because the pocket itself is only 12 inches wide. Now this next piece, I'm going to have you rotate it so that the flowers are on the right. Let's cut at 8 3/4, 7 1/2, and 3 3/4. Okay, so this gives you a couple of rectangles. We're going to place those in pocket 1 and 2. Then you have this really skinny piece and this more floral piece. Both of these go in 7 and 8. And then this larger strip remains as is, going into pocket 1 and 2. Okay, now we have the rooster print, and we need to be careful. Place it in the trimmer so that the rooster is sideways on the lower left corner of the piece. And we're going to cut at 7 3/4. And then let's rotate so that the rooster is now right side up, and cut at 7 1/4. This large piece and the rooster itself goes in pockets 7 and 8. And the next strip will trim at 11 1/4, 7 1/2, 3 3/4. And all 3 of these pieces are going to be, the 3 the same, will be used in 3 and 4. And then you have a small piece, plop that in 7 and 8. Now, if you're new and I'm going way too fast or just feels very overwhelming, just want to ask you to be patient with yourself, slow things down. Again, press pause as much as you want. And I guarantee you that with a little bit of practice, you're going to keep up with me just fine and be amazed at how efficiently you can create, leaving all of your time for the completion of your pages. Okay, let's take this brown sheet now. We're going to cut it at 11. We're going to make a bunch of 1-inch pieces, basically. So 11, and then 10, 9, 8. Now we're going to make some really tiny pieces. And as we continue on here, I just want to point out, I'm letting that paper stack up. I'm not moving it anywhere. Because if you leave it where it lands, then I know where it is and you know where it is. Okay, now this is, we're going to cut it 7 3/4. So that's going to give us a pretty narrow piece here. And then 7 1/2. Again, another narrow piece. And then 4. Nice whole number for you to end with. Okay, rotate the 4x12. And our first cut's going to be at 10 3/4, 9, and 5 1/4. I promise every cut we're making has a purpose. All right, so this larger rectangle that was in your trimmer base, 1 and 2. The next piece on the stack is it's close to a rectangle, almost a square, and then we do have this narrow strip right after it. So both of these go in 5 and 6. And there's a really small little piece, and incredibly, we're going to cut it at 2 inches. Crazy, right? Both of these pieces are used, pocket 7 and 8. Isn't that great? Now the next strip, this is 3 1/2 by 12. We're going to cut it at 10, 8, 6, and 3. These 2 pieces that are the same, 5 and 6. Then you have 3 more rectangles. They are also the same but used in different layouts. So one of them, pocket 1 and 2. The next one, 5 and 6. And the last one, 7 and 8. We have all of these strips now. You have really 2 skinny ones, and sometimes these can go missing. If it disappeared, it's probably under your trimmer base. Not that it's ever happened before. Okay, so take 2 of these, and then 2 of the other 1-inch strips. So all 4 go in pocket 1 and 2. Every single piece will be used. and then 2 more go in pocket 7 and 8. Okay, blue. We're going to start out making some narrow strips again. So 11 3/4. 11 3/4. Leave it lay. And then 11 1/2 to make a second one. 10 1/4. 8 3/4. 6 3/4. And 4. Rotate the 4x12, cut at 6. 2 photo mats now going into pocket 5 and 6. And then we've got a strip here we're going to trim. This is 2 3/4 by 12. We'll cut at 11, 8 1/4, 5 1/2, 2 3/4. And we have a series of 4 perfect squares here. We're going to put them all in pocket 7 and 8. And there's a small piece of blue, pocket 3 and 4. Pick up the rest of the strips that you have. The widest one on the top stack plus the next one. So the widest and the next widest. They both go in 7 and 8. And then you have this more narrow strip going in 3 and 4. And then you've got a tiny, tiny one, 1 and 2. And the other tiny one, 3 and 4. We've arrived at our Cutaparts now. These help us complete our page titles, anchoring strips, and the like. And for my beginners here, I just want to point out that there is a plus sign in the corner, each corner of both of these sheets. And that simply means remove everything on the outside of that mark, out of that cut line. So we call that a registration mark here in the printing industry. And so you're just helping us perfectly remove a perimeter from this sheet to turn it into a precise 12 by 12 piece of paper. So I'm just trimming off that end. And once I make the first cut, I can really see the edge of my blade on my trimmer base. And you'll notice that too, especially if you're using this model of trimmer. Another reason why I highly recommend it. So once I've removed 2 sides, I can generally look over at the 12 here, the measurement, and then that will create the 12-inch piece. Okay, so then you'll have these little tiny pieces. That's basically just scrap. I'm going to throw that away. And now we can cut this into individual strips. And make sure the words "live like someone left the gate open" are on the right here. I love that quote. And we're going to cut that at 11. And then 10 1/4. Again, letting those papers pile up. 9 1/2. 7 3/4. 5 3/4. And 3. All right, this is my happy place, 5 and 6. And then, if possible, pick up the rest of the stack, leaving it in the order it landed. The first strip goes in 3 and 4. You can go your own way. That goes in 5 and 6. I suspect foul play, 7 and 8. This is a great kit for the boys. And then 2 narrow strips with the dots, 7 and 8. Finally, this "live like someone left the gate open" goes in 3 and 4. We get to do one more round of that. So we're going to start by taking off the end here. And you can go ahead and push pause if you want while we both work on this at our own pace together. Okay, that perimeter is cleaned up and I've thrown away the little tiny scraps. So now we're going to begin with a cut at 11 1/4 and then 10 1/2, 8 3/4, and 5. Rotate, making sure that the journaling prompt is on your right, and we'll trim at 10 3/4 and 7. This large piece goes in pocket 3 and 4, and then this one 1 and 2, the journaling prompt, 3 and 4, and pick up the next strip. Make sure keep calm and cluck on is on your right, and we'll trim at 10 1/4, 6 1/2, 5, and 3 1/2. All right, this guy, 5 and 6. And the next one also, Country Roads Take Me Home, 5 and 6. Then you've got the little egg basket with journaling lines on it, 7 and 8. And I'm going to take scissors and just separate some of these elements. So I have the rooster. I suppose I'll just go ahead and cut that on the line. And what I typically do with a piece like this, when I am trying to get a nice smooth oval shape, which isn't exactly the easiest thing in the world, is open the blade wide and then turn while I close it slowly. And that's going to help avoid a lot of little harsh edges. And then I also happen to have an ink pad from Club Scrap. This one is Ash is the name of the color. So it's just a nice gray. This is another way to deal with crooked cuts. It just sort of masks the white edge of the paper, making it look a little bit better. So you could ink the edges of these shapes with that Ash ink pad or whatever else you happen to have on hand, maybe earth, would work really well. This goes in pocket 5 and 6, and then you can also use a thin die, cutting die, if you happen to have that with a cutting, like a die cutting machine. Or again, you can just make quick work of it with scissors and get that shape without having to haul out all that extra equipment. That's totally up to you. And I'm going to give it one more go. Let that dry a little bit. And he is going to go in pocket 5 and 6 also. Then you have the little egg shapes. And the 2 eggs go in 5 and 6. Then you have the peep and the balk. So those are all 5 and 6. I think we can do that now. 2 eggs and little chick in 5 and 6. Here, this guy, when I cut it, I'm going to go just slightly past, on the outside rather, of that oval guideline that Jacqueline put in there. So ovals are kind of weird. There's a reason why this is oval, is the specific size that it is. Because in your embellishments, we have these bronze settings. And this piece is designed to fit well inside there. And I went outside the guideline just a little bit to give it a nice tight fit. And before I permanently add the peep to the oval setting, I will add some bookbinding glue to that. I might even need to find a way to get it back out of there. It's really well placed. But either way, I'll leave it in and place the peep in pocket 1 and 2. And the block will get paired with the other oval setting, and that's going to be highlighted on 7 and 8. So I'm just going to dump all that in there and not worry about the rest. Okay, continuing on. Then we have this last rectangle, keep calm and cluck on, and we're going to cut this at, let's see, 2 3/4 and 1 1/2. Keep calm goes in 7 and 8. This guy, 1 and 2, and the skinnier little duck, 7 and 8. And now we move my roost. My rules should be on the right. We'll cut some tags here. So 9 3/4, 6 1/2, and 3 1/4. This one, 7 and 8. Here with the little chick, I'm going to take my trimmer and just kind of place the tag in there so I can cut the tag shaped corners right when I have my trimmer handy. And this one is used in 5 and 6. The next journaling prompt is also a tag shape. Of course, removing those triangles is an option, and you can also use it with a craft knife, cutting mat, and ruler. This one, 1 and 2. And finally, my roost, my rules. I'll do the little triangles here. It's a big time saver just to get this prep work done before you start assembling your pages. And this one, 1 and 2. Finally, we have home is where the flock is, and this other one, cute one. Both of these are used in pocket 1 and 2. Now, what I happily want to share at this point is that other than these and the little end cuts from the Cutaparts, there were absolutely no scraps in the making of your 8 pages. So the trimming is complete, and this is what we're left with. Pretty amazing. I can get rid of my trimmer now and set your pockets aside. And you do have more papers, and these are going to be the base of our layouts, all 8 pages. So what I'd like to do is start out with layouts 7 and 8 first, and then dry fit the things out of pocket 7 and 8 onto those 2 pages. And we're going to work our way backwards all the way until layout 1, so that when you're finished dry fitting, meaning no adhesive, then you can work your way back from 1 to layout 8 with adhesive to finish your pages. Then all you need to do is add photos. So if you were preparing to go to a crop, I might get to that point we're about to arrive at, then put everything into a bag, go to the crop, glue everything down, add your pictures, and you're going to be the most productive person there. All right, so if I just take the entire stack of remaining papers and take the top sheet, leave the rest of the stack in one pile, slide the top sheet over to the right, and that should give you the base for pages 7 and 8, and I can confirm that by looking at page 4, layout 7 and 8. That's the color of the base, and that was how we sorted these papers out earlier at the beginning of class. Now if I take my accordion pocket file here and everything out of the final pocket 7 and 8, hopefully everything I need to complete this page is in the pocket. And I'm even going to grab that little oval I threw in there. That might have been a bad idea. So you don't want to leave things behind and cause confusion for yourself later on. Like, what is this doing in here? All right. Now, typically, for my newbies here, I'll just quick explain this. What I like to do is gather everything in my non-dominant hand. In my case, I'm right-handed, so everything's in my left hand. And here in Wisconsin, we play a lot of cribbage, and from an early age, you're taught to deal cards. So I deal the pieces to the layout just as I would cards to another player in a game. So this large rooster guy, he's going to go in the upper left corner and leave a little margin around him. And this one is going to go in the lower left corner of the right page. Now there are 2 blue borders. The narrower one is going to go across the top here. And then I'm going to take one of the brown strips and layer it on top of that, followed by one of the polka dotted borders on top of that. Then to the right of it, take the larger blue strip, lay that down with, I suspect, foul play. 2 brown photo mats are going to go over this, so that's going to help determine where this sits. Nice. Okay. In your kit too, you receive some of these little mini seed packets. There's 3 of them. I'm going to take one and place it in this area right here. And then there's this floral. This is going to be a photo mat, but it wouldn't have to be. So that's going to go there. And then a horizontal brown. And then let's mirror what's happening. A reflection of this is happening here. Then across the bottom, you're going to find some blue squares. So distribute those. And because they're 2 3/4 inches, it's going to allow you to stretch all 4 across your 12-inch page with a nice little border around each, nice little margin. Then we have Keep Calm and Cluck On. I inked the edges of this, I believe. And then there should be a little piece of brown and a small duckling, little guy, small little guy. Let's see. We've got a brown that should nest with the weather vane guy, and this nests on the brown seed packet. Then you have this journaling prompt here, and that's going to go in this spot. I used a corner chomper to round the corners. You could use a corner punch as well, just a small detail. I'll go ahead and do that. And that's going to go here. Now, on these other pieces, I also rounded the corners on one short edge of each of these. And then I stapled 3 different ribbon styles to the top of each of these tags. And I created the illusion of these tags kind of pouring out of the pocket. Like that, kind of. Sweet, right? It's just a visual embellishment. It's sort of like, I don't know, ornaments. They don't really serve a purpose other than, you know, jazzing up the place. Okay, then you have the word book. And I cut that out and glued it into the oval setting so it fit perfectly. From my stash, I found some wax linen thread, and I created a little hanging sign and hung it with the mini brad. I'm going to show you that in just a moment. And here we go. This is my page 8 completely adhered. So check this out. A little ribbon stapled to the left side, creating that tag look. And then I have that mimicked here. So there's the brick ribbon on the brown, the checked ribbon on the print, and then the taupe also stapled to the larger print. And then see how I finished that off. Just the book is inside the setting. There's the wax linen cord from my stash in a neutral color. You can use really anything. And jute or something like that would work as well, or just, you know, whatever you have on hand. And then here is a little black brad from my stash that I added to the top of that. And I loved having the block paired with I suspect foul play. So that sounds about right. Okay, next, this is layout 7 here. I did the chain link bow trick here by the Rooster by simply trimming the ribbon, taping it to the back, and then taking a second piece and looping it through. I've demonstrated that many times, and I do have a ribbon basics video that will teach you that as well. Here it's just folded in half and stapled to the Keep Calm, which has been inked edges, and then pop dotted next to this guy. Now for layouts 5 and 6, we're going to pick up the brick paper only that's on the left, the base of page 7, and slide it over, revealing this blue. Take the blue and slide that over and stick it on top of page 7. And that gives me what I need as a foundation to build 5 and 6. I have to empty whatever's in the pocket and get ready to deal these items. I'm going to start out with, this is our happy place as a border strip anchoring the right edge of the layout. And then down across the bottom, you can go your own way. It's going to make like a backwards L shape there. Now there is some brick coloring in there, and that is coming from the ribbon. So I'm going to take a length of this and trim it to about 14 inches long. So I have an inch on either side to wrap it around to the back. I've got 2 white photo mats I'm using across the top, kind of at a, one is straight and one is kind of at an angle, overlapping. Take one of those seed packets, and that's going to go horizontally right here. And there is a 2x4, I believe this is in measurement, rectangle that's going to nest with your journaling prompt. So what you'd want to do is adhere this and clip the corners with either your trimmer, scissors, craft knife, whatever you prefer, and add some ribbon to that. It just is kind of a cute little, you know, decorative element. Then you have 2 brown rectangles that are going to be positioned right here in the lower left corner. On the left side, we have this tall, skinny piece that's going to nest with Country Roads Take Me Home. And I thought that would be in a perfect spot to add, actually Jacqueline thought, the bronze arrow. Love that. Okay, now next to this, there should be a white mat that kind of is going to line up, and then we're going to nest that with blue. And take the other blue, and that's going to go flush with the right edge of this. And you have a brown piece to mat this guy perfectly. In the upper right-hand corner, I took some of this checked ribbon and the taupe because of the size differential. I layered it together, so I'm just going to trim some of this off, and that's ready to wrap around the upper right corner of this layout, and then you can top that with the rooster. I added the peep and this guy and the eggs that are trimmed out. Now, one of the things, I believe I picked this up from my friend Kathy. She did it on a card, Kathy Ratcliffe. That was a brilliant move, my friend. Okay, so I cut some of this gorgeous cotton taupe, and all I did was twist it. Right about like that. Bring the ends around to the back. I always keep one of these dispensers of tape, and you can see where I have my needle tipped glue applicator with the pointy end facing down, so all the glue is always at the tip of the applicator. Keep that on my workspace at all times, so I have tape and glue ready to go. And now I've got my ribbon twist here, and it just adds the right thing. So if you're a card maker, wow, what a great use of ribbon that does not create any dimensional knots. And then I just added him with some foam adhesive, put the eggs kind of around it, and that's really adorable little embellishment. I added a little bit of loop of ribbon to this as well. So let's take a look at our finished project here. On the right side, there's the nested ribbon and foam adhesive around this with the ash ink on the perimeter. Then it was 2 ribbons folded and layered to match this on there, and you've got your brick ribbon wrapping around to the back. On the left side, you can see the attached arrow, and this was done with my needle tip glue applicator and a little loop of the ribbon. This was added with foam adhesive. And then here's my little twisted ribbon with the eggs. So cute. Okay, take the base of this print only, and I'm going to, on top of this, and slide again. And that gives me the base for layouts 3 and 4. If this method is perplexing to you, that, why are you doing it this way? And you've never tried it before, I do encourage you to just follow through to the very bitter end. And by that, I mean, do this part with me till we finish, then adhere everything. Don't even worry about your pictures. Then go to your pictures and find some colors that coordinate with this color palette and add your photos to the existing pages. You will be pleasantly surprised, I think, is how it works. Okay, so once again, I'm ready for the deal. This guy, I took scissors and just trimmed freestyle around the frame to add a little bit of shape to that. And across the top, then, I'm gonna add this photo mat. And beneath that, I have a journaling prompt. I took my corner chomper on the 1/4 inch setting and rounded this edge and stapled some ribbon to it. And there's a really tiny little piece of blue, and I cut a little V shape, freestyle, of course, too, into the blue, and I nested it behind here, and that gave me a perch on which to put my rooster charm. So that creates a little bit of contrast there. And that whole business goes underneath this taupe photo mat. Slick. Okay, now across the bottom, I have these 3 prints. 1, 2, 3. And if you don't have photos for all 3 of them, no big deal. They still look nice with or without a picture. And they're gonna have a nested border here. I'm gonna show you a quick trick. First, I will adhere this strip to the blue strip. Centered. Next, I'll take my hole punch, and I'm going to go in the center of the strip to the right of the text. And then I'm going to take a piece of ribbon, fold it in half, that exceeds the length of the space between the punched hole and the edge. Then I'm going to take a folded tip of the ribbon and bring it through the hole and just secure that on the back. And again, I do have my tape handy. Then you can take the ends and split them a little bit. And once again, tape these ends. You can use washi tape also if you prefer, versus cellophane. And now I get this cute little ribbon accent and only required hardly any ribbon, which is pretty cool. It goes there. The remaining items, let's see, we've got this wide border strip across the top, and then this guy, and 2 taupe. I have another ribbon trick to show you. You're gonna love this one too. Okay, so we have this brown checked ribbon. I'm gonna cut 3 lengths that are wider than the strip. So that's 1, 2, and 3. All right, let's take one of these lengths and put it around the strip at an angle, and we'll tape at the back. The next strip, we're going to tape it at an angle again. And the next strip, let's crisscross that. I could have crisscrossed first and then added whatever. You get the idea. You can arrange it however you like. Okay, now I have some ribbon remaining. Let's go over this one, go under the ribbon, and we're going to add a little knot. Trim the tails. I need enough just to do a couple of other things with that ribbon on the previous pages that we did together. So now I have this really cool ribbon, faux ribbon wrap here that was super easy, and it looks really nice. I hope you like that. And I will show you the finished pages. I didn't have the heart to cover this. I know a lot of you sympathize with that, so hopefully you won't mind. But I want to say also, if you have a lot of pictures from a certain event going on this and you can finish this page with even more, I would cover it. Absolutely. Your pictures are paramount on your pages. So that's what has to take priority. And you can see my little finished thing here. You can see my embellishment there. I did top the bronze charm with a little bit of wax linen, and I do feel that adding that little bow draws the eye to something more small on your page. It looks pretty sweet. Okay, we are sliding over again now, and one last time. This is already 1 and 2. We've arrived. Layout 1 and 2. That's pretty amazing. Okay, so we have some stuff left in the pocket labeled 1 and 2. So let's pull that out. And we'll gather it up in our left hand or right hand, whatever you prefer. Get rid of the larger pieces first. So this great big, pretty beautiful piece, I think is going to be flush with the left edge there. And then the other one is going to be flush at the right. So basically I took the print in the other sheet where it's featured. This is on the left, and now we've reversed it. Now this will be on the right. Kind of cool how that worked out. And we're going to differentiate the print from the paper because it is pretty close in color value with a little thin strip. Again, what I do, I'm just going to show you because I think this is really an important thing. I do this trick a lot, and this is a great big time saver. So I added my adhesive to the print, and I'm wallpapering it on here basically flush with the left edge of this page. Then take your needle tip applicator filled with bookbinding glue and use the edge of the paper to guide the tip of your needle nose along the edge. And then you just put it back in your tape dispenser. And then take this strip, and all you have to do is just lay it down and make sure it presses up against the seam of the paper. It's perfect, and you saw how quick that was. So I hope that does in the future save you a little bit of time as well. We're going to make our title. And to me, when you're creating pages, I think the most time-consuming thing is adding a title. So our Cutaparts take away all the time required. You just plop that on there. Home is where the flock is, and you're good to go. Then horizontally, we're going to add our 2 photo mats in this space. Looks really nice. Perfect. Beautiful. Okay, and then a vertical will be here. complementing and reflecting the border strip from the other side. Below that, we have space for some vertical mats that were trimmed from the weather vane print as well, so it ties it in nicely. And this big rectangle is going to fit here and nest beautifully with that. I inked the edges of my Roost My Rules to create some contrast and stapled the taupe ribbon to the top. That goes there. Grab a bag. And I did it with the mouth open, just in case you do want to put something into it. And then onto it, I've got a journaling prompt that I clipped the corners of, stapled, and that's going to go right here. And then we have the remaining laser cut woodcut chicken, or woodcut rooster. And I inked the edges of this cutie pie, stuck it right behind there, and then tied some waxed linen onto each end of the peep. And that goes there. And yeah. Oh, I'm going to show you something fun. More ribbon ideas. You never can have enough ribbon uses, right? Oh, and don't forget to, the little arrow charm goes above this sentiment. So I'm nesting this now onto the brown panel. And then I'll take my hole punch. And I'm going to add a hole to the corner. Oh, that was supposed to be at the top. My bad. Ignore that. And then here's your rust colored ribbon. I'm going to cut a really sharp angle. And I'm going to bring the tip of that to the front of my cut apart here. And I'm going to tie a little knot. And there's plenty of this color, so you don't have to worry about conservation. And then just neaten it up a little bit after you've done that. And then you pull it through. And then, got to calculate here. We're going to create a little hanger for this. So I'm going to cut some more. Make sure you cut plenty, again, at a deep angle. And thread it through the other side from the back to the front. And tie that into a little knot. You can just pull as much as you want to the front until you're done doing all your work. So you have a little bit of slack in there. Finish that off. And now you have a little hanger that you can then attach to your layout with a brad. Super cute. I think I went a little long on this, but that can be adjusted by retying the knot to the right height, or just have it be lower on the page. Let's take a look, shall we? So here is layout number 2. Got the arrow attached with the glue. Check the little knots, and then you got this. I made a little fold and went through both layers of the ribbon to hang it at the top. Stapled ribbon here. Otherwise, it's really straightforward. And on the other side, we have our little collage we created with a combination of all these wonderful elements from the embellishment pack in this collection. And that, my friends, that's it. This is the beautiful Roost Page Kit. I can't wait to add some pictures. I did do a trip to, I took a trip to Jackson Hole, Wyoming. And speaking of, I want to show you something. If you are a member, not if you purchase the kit, but if you are a member of Club Scrap, our members receive a bonus page formula every month. And not only that, but they receive a huge savings on their kit price as well. And this gives you the exact gathering list for papers from your stash that you can take. I want to help you use what we send, but also what you have. So you follow the trimming instructions precisely, and that gives you everything you need to create a layout. So I went ahead and did that with some of the papers from the Roost collection. This is the smoky blue and the brown, and the print from the card kit, actually. Really nice. And I got a bunch more pictures from this Jackson Hole trip that I've already got finished on the Roost pages, and really excited about getting that project done so I can always remember the great time we had there. So again, I'm Tricia from Club Scrap. I really appreciate your joining me. I hope you learned something when we were together for this time, and I had a lot of fun. I always do. I enjoy sharing all these ideas and challenging you as well. And if you're not already, please join us as a member of our private Club Scrap chat group. It doesn't cost anything. What's cool is that everyone there has the same supplies you do, and we inspire each other by using them. Again, that is the goal. Help you use what you have and use what we send. I look forward to seeing you again soon in another workshop. If you like this Roost theme, make sure you join me for the card making class as well. We're going to have a great time over there too. So see you then.